Welcome back to Biz Lounge. We're with Bain & Company Sri Rajan. And now let's take a look at what Sri does when he's off the boss's chair.
We were both working in Boston at this firm called Digital Equipment Corporation, DEC. He was on the business side, and they had made a decision that impacted our lives, which a lot of us didn't agree with. So I went to his office and all ready to argue with him, and I positioned my point of view, and he listened to me, and then he said, "You're right, that's fine, we'll change it." And that was that. And then he said, "Do you want to go out for dinner?" A week later, we were engaged. We do find time to be with each other. It's simple things. Going for a child's soccer game, going for a concert, playing together, board games, watching TV.
So Saturdays tend to be a little busy. My son Rishi plays soccer and he plays in a league. And I'm the person, who's responsible for making sure he gets there. I try and be there to motivate him. I grew up in a family where, we used to read a lot, and I still love reading. In fact, the one thing growing up, and it's still true for my family as well, is that if you ever want to buy a book, no questions asked. I enjoy running and hiking. So I try and run at least 3 to 4 times a week. I have the travel bug, and I love to travel. So a couple of years ago, I took a break from work. We took 4 months off, and I spent 2 months traveling around the world with the family.
He's got very high self-esteem, and Sri gives nonsense to no one and takes nonsense from no one.
Okay, Sri, tell us a little bit about your childhood and where you grew up and what kind of kid you were.
So I grew up, I would say, in 2 primary locations. One was Jamshedpur. My father used to work for the Tatas at the time. And then in Hyderabad. I stayed with my grandparents for a while. I played sports. I think I was also somewhat of a studious kid as well. But I had a wonderful time. I had a great set of friends, friends that I've known for a very long time that I still keep in touch with. And then I went off to college. But I was in college in Hyderabad, so I just went from school to college in Hyderabad. And then from there I went to IIM Calcutta. And IIM Calcutta, I think, was really sort of a defining experience for me, both from the perspective that it really broadened my horizons in a variety of ways. But I do believe also that my best friends in life today are from the IIM.
What did you want to be when you were growing up?
I was very clear I wanted to be an astronaut. That was my childhood dream, and that was my childhood ambition. I was very interested in the stars and astronomy. I actually learned a bit about astronomy. And I decided that, when I grew up, I was going to find a way to become an astronaut. Somehow that never happened.
No.
But I have a deep interest in space exploration. I do believe it's the final frontier. I do believe that, man will go beyond the moon and into the stars. I've watched the movie Apollo 13 probably 20 times. I have a deep passion for space exploration. So that's my thing.
Looking back, what would you say was the toughest part about being a kid?
I think growing up in India, the toughest part of being a kid is really the set of expectations that are thrust on you. I think especially during the time that I was growing up, my generation, you had to be either an engineer or a doctor, or it didn't really matter too much. And I came from a family of really high achievers, first cousins, second cousins, uncles, and so on, who were very high achievers. And so the burden of expectations was really very high. I think it's great that in this generation, even though the burden of expectations is still very high, the fact that kids today have far more choices than at least my generation did, I think is a wonderful thing. I don't believe kids should be constrained in terms of what they want to do. And I think it's great for the country, and I think it's great for the generation.
If someone asked you to give them a random piece of advice,
yes,
what would you offer?
A lot of people have asked me for random pieces of advice. And I'll tell you, the one thing that I tell people, especially who are coming out of the IIMs and the IITs, while I say that the burden of expectations for this generation is not as high as it was for mine, there is still this high level of stress in terms of landing that perfect job and going to the company that's your dream company. And I tell you, having been out there for 25 years, I tell them it doesn't matter. That, there are many paths to success. And you don't want to have somebody else define it for you. So create your own path. And the things that you think are most important to you today, actually, when you look back on them, you'll find they don't matter at all. Mm-hmm. I have to tell you, I don't have any impact. Nobody listens to that piece of advice I give them, but I still give it to them in any case.
What would you say is one of your best habits?
I think it's just hard work. I do work hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, I used to fool myself into thinking that I don't work hard, but actually I do. And I think that's fine. I've come to accept it, and I think it's a good habit to have, because I don't think things are easy in life. You have to work for them. Mm-hmm. And I hope I'm a good role model from that perspective to my kids as well.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say is one of your worst habits?
Actually, one of my worst habits is procrastination.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I work hard, I tend to leave things to the last minute. Mm-hmm. And I scramble and I get it done, but it's not a pretty experience for anyone concerned. So,
if you can go back in history, who's one person that you'd want to meet and why?
I would actually, given my passion for space exploration, there are probably people like Neil Armstrong, mm-hmm. People who are on Apollo 8, mm-hmm. People who left the gravity of the Earth. Mm-hmm. Those are people I would love to meet and talk to them about their experience of what was it like to be the first people who left the gravity of the Earth mm-hmm. and out into space. Mm-hmm. That would be a great conversation to have.
And if you could learn one random skill, what would you want to learn?
The random skill would be to play an instrument. Mm-hmm. I never learned how to play an instrument. I just didn't pick it up, mm-hmm. despite the fact that my parents would tell me that it was important for me to do. I would love to do that, learn how to play a guitar or learn to play some other instrument. Mm-hmm. I've never done it.
Okay, Shri, well, we're out of time, but it was great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it for today. We'll see you next time on Biz Lounge.